Thank you. Come to order. We're now holding a meeting of Upper Allen Township Board of Commissioners, November 6, 2024. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we have the roll call, please? Commissioner Wall, present. Commissioner Fairchild, present. Commissioner Anderson, present. Commissioner Stranion, present. Commissioner Marks, present. By way of announcements, I guess the most important one first is that we're starting a new procedure for our meetings tonight. We're all Hollywood stars. This meeting is going to be live streamed for those who wish to attend virtually. A recording of the meeting will also be available afterward for anyone who cannot join in real time. So I would remind my colleagues that speak into the microphone so that those who are remote can hear us, hopefully, as well. If anyone from the audience addresses the board, please make sure you speak into the microphone so that it is recorded. And I think it's we've talked about this for some time, and we're finally at the point we have the equipment, the expertise, and the staff to run this thing, and so we're going to try it. So welcome to those of you in Upper Allen Township who are joining us remotely. Enjoy your coffee while you sit in your recliner and participate in this meeting. With the meeting distribution, we had materials or the minutes from our October 2nd, 2024 meeting. Are there any questions, additions, or corrections? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to approve. So, second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Alexis. Coming to the period where we recognize visitors, I think we have two folks that want to speak in items that are not on the agenda. Well, the first one is not, and that's Jim Cochran. Would you want to address the board, Jim? Introduce yourself and speak to the board.
Get to be the first visitor on live stream. That's cool. Wonderful. Jim Cochran, 34 Allison Avenue. I have two issues I'd like to address the board tonight. First is I prepared a spreadsheet that I shared with you. I wanted to comment on yesterday's election. I was working the polls the whole day and was impressed with the amount of people who turned out, and downloaded the information from the county website this morning to discover that 79.27% of registered voters in Cumberland County voted. And in Upper Allen Township, we actually had 81.59% of registered voters vote. So we beat the county average. And we have 10 precincts in Upper Allen Township, ranging from the smallest, which is Upper Allen 2, with 663 registered voters, to the largest, which now is up around 8, and that has 3,358 registered voters, and that's, I believe, the result of the development that's occurred along Winding Hill Road, and even somewhat along Hertzler. I think that all fits in there. So I'm thinking, from what I heard from other people who are working the polls, that perhaps the township might want to get in touch with the county and see about realigning election districts again, because those folks voted here. And we heard that there were waits of a half hour to 45 minutes for a good bit of the day to get in to vote. Now, I don't think every election will have, and up here for the record, there were 84.6% of those registered voters turned out. So I'm not sure every election is going to have that. In fact, if you compare this to the primary, which primary is a different election, I understand that. People who aren't registered either Republican or Democrat can't vote, and that's about 16.5% of our registered voters. But in April, we averaged about 35% of registered voters voting in the primary. So this was by far a very, very large turnout, one of the largest I've ever experienced. And so in the sheet I gave you, you can see that the highest turnout was at Daybreak Church. They were at 88%. And the lowest turnout was at Geneva Greens. They were at 66%. Then I just outlined for you the top 5 races that were held, and the winner is highlighted in green. You can see what kind of votes they got versus the loser. And the presidential election, township went 8-2 for President Trump. On the McCormick Casey race, they went 8-1-1, up around 9, actually tied 661 votes on both sides. On Perry Stelson, they went 5-5, and Don Kiefer was the only candidate in this group that got all 10 precincts. All 10 precincts went for her. And Thomas Coots and Flood was 9-1 for Thomas. So I just thought I'd share that information with you and recommend perhaps you get in touch with the county to have some of the election precinct lines realigned. Second issue I put on the topic, second topic I put on the sheet was I visited with the Park and Rec Board at their last meeting and shared with them that while out mowing some soccer fields a couple of Fridays ago, I had an epiphany of sorts that I thought that you have an excellent chance to do an annual event, perhaps calling it a walk in the park, and to use that event as a way of introducing people to the new Generations Park. When that park was purchased, we recognized it would be a destination park. There is no real neighborhood that surrounds it. In fact, there are very few homes that surround it. So you need to give people a reason to come there, and if they never come the first time, they won't come back again, obviously. So perhaps doing something in early December each year after all the work from the summer is complete. Maybe have poster boards with proposed enhancements in the future. I know that Tiff from the Recreation Association wants to do a walking club out there. So I'm just suggesting and hopeful that you might pick up the idea of doing an annual event to show what progress we've made at the Generations Park. So that's it. Thank you very much.
That's a good idea. So thanks for the research, Jim, and also good suggestion. And I know it's been talked about informally since your first introduction, so I suspect we may well pursue that.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Cochran presented that to Park and Rec, and they were favorable on it also.
Thank you.
I mean, I also thank Jim for
your mic's on. Go ahead.
I thank Jim for the voter information. I mean, that's really helpful. So I'm around 8 votes at this building, which is probably one of the largest facilities we have to do that. But what, 2,842 people voted yesterday, and I can just imagine the traffic in the parking lot. That's one of the issues. But I believe
There wasn't anywhere to park, so I mean, people were parking on side streets.
right.
In the neighborhoods, they were outside the area of the neighborhood.
And they were also parking across the street in the restaurant and everything out in there.
Yeah. So I believe it's a county decision that they regarding that, I don't know, but they have to find another facility.
And I think that was the recommendation that the speaker gave us, was that he would encourage this board to contact the Bureau of Elections, which is a county agency, according to.
Right.
So
Just make sure the board agrees to do that, which I think is
Just
next move
for
for
clarity's sake,
township managers.
for clarity's sake, I wasn't recommending moving the point, just rearranging some of the attendance areas. So, there's too many people in this one precinct, so to realign, and it's gotta be 15 or 20 years ago, we went to 10 precincts. We were much smaller, we had 5 precincts, maybe double the number of precincts, so periodically the county will do that, they'll go back and look, because development does occur. And they like to try to keep the size is about even across all the precincts, and obviously, if you've got 358 in this, and you've got 663 in number 2, there's a good bit of room for rearranging things, and the average size is about 1,400 to 1,600 per precinct, so.
and that, you're right, that will be a county decision if we were to make a recommendation.
No, they typically won't do it unless you ask them, they're about.
But there would be 2 ways to have to approach this, would be to get a much larger place with more machines for 8, or to have 11 precincts or something else, but that's really a county decision.
Jim, one thing I want to say to what you're talking, when we had 2 precincts here at one time, and it concerns me was because I was caught in that line that walked around, and I was concerned if we would ever go back to the second, date, so we have to stay on top of it, that they don't make this 2 precincts.
Right, that was COVID, during COVID, aside, buildings moved out, aside buildings and over
And
here.
it could be a very it would be a nightmare.
That would be a nightmare now with that many people.
Yes.
Because of development, so, the easiest thing is probably just to realign some attendance lines and shift some bodies to vote in different precincts. 2,000 in a precinct is not an outrageous number, but.
And they only use that side. They, I don't know if they have ability to get any more machines in. I stood in line forever.
To the point, I think we should encourage them to relook at our township, because we already have a site at Bowmansdale Church of God where there's 2 sites, 2 different adjoining buildings, but parking is an issue there, because this last election, there was, so I think your point is well taken, that I think the board will discuss, and I suspect we will pass it along to the county so that we can then look at it before the next election.
The Bowmansdale, in fact, you're only talking 2,000 registered voters between the 2, so that's not the 2 vote there is a single vote there. So
Agreed. Okay, thank you.
Okay, just real quickly, I can draft up a letter for the board of review related to that. That's the will of the board, and then review it at a subsequent meeting.
Thank you. Please do that. I think we have, Simpson Public Library, is listed to be recognized, but I believe it is time Sanford that's here. Would you introduce yourself with the name, with your address, please?
Good evening. I'm Patty Sanker, a resident of Upper Allen Township. I am also the president of the Board of Trustees at Simpson Public Library. It's listed on the agenda that Sue Erdman is to be here this evening, and she's unable to attend, so she asked if I would substitute for her, and of course, I said yes. So it's nice to be here this evening and talk about one of my favorite topics, which is the Simpson Public Library. And I've been affiliated with the board for 9 years, and the last 2 years as the president of the board. And in front of you, I have, the secretary has distributed a folder from the library. And in that library, in that folder, you will find the 2023 annual report, along with Friends of Simpson Library information. And also included is a calendar for 2025. If you're not a member of our Friends of Simpson Library, for a little bit of money, of course, you can become a friend of our library. And what does that provide for you? That provides you the first crack at our book sales on Friday evening, which we hold 5 times a year. So do you want to be there as a friend of the library? We open that on Friday evenings so that you get first crack at those books that we are selling. And there's also a reminder there that coming up on Wednesday, or Thursday, excuse me, November 14th is one of our dine-outs, Longhorn Steakhouse over on Carlisle Pike. And a portion of the proceeds is given back to Friends of the Library. So please take this with you and they will honor you. Over 1,500 people of all ages participated this past summer in our summer learning program. And the title of that program was Adventure Begins at Your Library. 1,000 of those people of all ages participated in what was called Go Cumberland. And this reminds me of a program that you just spoke about. And this is in partnership with Wellspan, who helped underwrite it. And this means get outdoors. And we just talked about the park that they were asking you to support for December and having a walkabout there. So this is very similar where we have a get outdoors program for people this summer who participated at the library. This past year, our main priority has been the renovation of the former Agway building. If you know where that is in town, in Mechanicsburg, the Agway building, they moved over to Trindle Road, and their old building was purchased by Simpson Library 2.5 years ago. The intention of that purchase was that the retail portion of the building would be used to house our book sales. And we generate a lot of money from book sales that are held there 5 times a year. The Friends of the Library have been always underwrite the book sale. And they're the ones who sort books every single week that people donate. Some are sold online, the ones that are most valuable, and the others are sorted by topic and shelf. If you've ever gone to a book sale at one of our competing libraries, you'll find that they are not sorted and they're not shelved by topic. You'll see that they're simply laying on a table. So we're very proud of that. And there are several retired librarians who, over the years, have worked these book sales and encouraged our volunteers on how to sort books. And they got it right. And if you have an opportunity to get into that area, I hope you appreciate it as much as our patrons do. So our main priority this past year has been to renovate the Agway building. And if you have an opportunity to go past the building that's under renovation, you'll see that the building is becoming transformed. In fact, you'll receive an invitation to our ribbon cutting, which we hope will be in December. And you'll see that the right-hand side of the building as you look at it, which was the warehouse side of the building, where all the hay and chemicals were stored up there. That has been transformed It now has a large gathering room that we'll be able to use for lectures or maybe an event for for our kids program. Whenever we bring in the dogs and cats for them from the Humane Society so that the kids can have an opportunity to familiarize themselves with the different species of dogs. They're so crowded in our children's library that we have to have several sessions. So we're looking at this new space as an area that we can certainly rent to the public if we need a space that size, but also to help us because as you have expanded here at Upper Allen Township, that we are feeling the same crunch on space that you have felt here. So this will help us to accommodate our our patrons a little better. Renovations are in full swing. In fact, we just put the second coat on pavement on the driveway for parking. We continue with our fundraising. We have raised 1.5 million to date out of a $2 million campaign. So if you haven't had an opportunity to individually contribute, we encourage you to do that, please. I know the township has, as a body, contributed, but if you'd like to make an individual contribution, we would love it. The Friends of the Library has also partnered through the years with Little Theater of Mechanicsburg. And we have a sponsor who will buy out all the seats so that we can sell them and all the profits come to us. So we do have a theater presentation on Sunday, November 24th at 2:30. And if you have children or grandchildren and would like to attend, an exclusive performance of Twas the Night Before Christmas in Little Theater's way of presentation. You will see a mouse, an elf, and a spunky little girl who doesn't like to take no for an answer. So I know you will enjoy it. Tickets are for sale in the library and they are $20 a piece. On behalf of the trustees at Simpson Library, I want to thank the Upper Allen Township Commissioners for your continued financial support of the library's daily operation. Your financial support makes it possible for us to provide quality library services to your residents and to our community of readers. So we want to thank you for your continued support over the years and encourage you to please come and look at our new facilities. It is at the Agway building. It will not take the place of our Simpson Library. This is an additional building that will help us with our space limitations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patty. Any quick questions or comments from the board? We have, as you note, the library has been one of those things that we as a board have budgeted annually and made a contribution to the library. I must note that it is always nice when those receiving organizations to get a personal thank you. It's meaningful, so thanks for it.
You're welcome. I also would like to note that our campaign co-chair is Mrs. Karen Cochran, who has been affiliated with the library for years. And she has taken on the responsibility of raising with the board and with a lot of help, $2 million. And we're short. I'm going to tell you, we have only gotten to 1.5 million. So we're looking for that extra bump to get us to our goal.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think that are the visitors that at least have signed in at this point. There'll be an opportunity later in the meeting. Moving to the agenda, there is no consent agenda. I might mention that after our budget meeting and prior to this meeting at 6:30, the board did meet in the executive session to get legal advice. concerning a potential contract that we're entering into for a project. Public safety. Did Marcy?
Yes, thank you. I do have one item for the agenda. Detective Sergeant Trent Malott is pursuing his master's degree through Southern New Hampshire University. He is asking for approval of a course that he's going to take early next year. He had notified me of his intent to take this class, and I would just respectfully ask that the board take action to approve this coursework for Detective Sergeant Trent Malott.
Okay, you've heard the request. Are there questions and or proposed action?
I'd like to move that the request for approval of college coursework from Detective Sergeant Trent Malott in forensic psychology be approved.
Okay. With this second, any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all I have. Nobody has any questions for me?
All right, and then I want to turn to Shelburne, but before that, I'm going to mention that many of you know that the firehouse was renovated, shucks, I don't even remember how many years ago now. And it's a quite nice station filled with state-of-the-art apparatus, and most importantly, a lot of really, really well-trained, dedicated volunteers. And during that process, they refurbished the interior of the building in terms of furniture and furnishings, etc. And the township extended to them a loan that was to be paid back over several years. And just tonight, I received a check in the amount of $20,238.73, which is the final payment. So thank you, Tom, and your colleagues for paying back the loan. Thank you for the loan. I really don't have anything to report tonight. I won't take any questions. I think it's worth noting though, what are we up to year to date? Over 600 calls.
I think as of this morning, it was 632 calls for the year so far.
And two came in while we were in the budget.
We're in the budget, 632 out of 4. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we think this might be a little sleepy rural community, but this is a very active suburban community, and to have a volunteer force responding to that many fires. Thank you. Any questions for the board? Okay, moving then to planning and zoning. Jen, or
Yes, thank you. First on the agenda is consideration of a certificate of appropriateness for 336 Gettysburg Pike. Miss Christina Rocky, the property owner, is here tonight in case you have any questions for her, but her request is to replace some existing wood and metal windows on the home with vinyl windows. There appear to be 15 windows total, along with a back door. But as with certificates of appropriateness, we only look at the areas which are visible from the public right of way. So not all of the windows and the door would be visible. This property is located in the Shepherdstown Historic District, and the application did go before HARB. They reviewed it at their October meeting, and they recommended approval with conditions. And those conditions were that the applicant could be able to replace their windows with the material of their choosing, so long as the new windows match the size and style of the original windows, and that 4 of the existing wood windows be set aside for future reference, whether this particular property owner or any future property owners would want to use that material or replace the windows again. So I know during one of our previous meetings where we looked at this application, there were some questions about which cases had involved certificates of appropriateness for window replacement. So I put that information in the memo, and I separated it out by district so that you could see what the request was, HARB's recommendation, as well as the commissioner action. So if you have any other questions, please let me know.
Thank you for doing that, Jen, because that's helpful to give the backdrop of prisoners. It should be happening here before. Are you presenting the case or is Ms. Rocky available for questions? I'm receiving state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Christina Rocky, 336 Gettysburg Pike. I am available to answer any questions.
Do you agree with the harvest recommendation?
Yes, I'm happy to set them aside.
Sure, I have a quick question for you. In the early architecture booklet, it references the structure that may have been built in circa 1820s, a small Georgian 3-bay, 1/2 timber house. I noticed in my house, in the historic records also refer to it as a timber house. And ours is log. Is there any chance your house has logs under that vinyl siding?
I have no idea. I would love to know that. I don't know how to find out without taking the vinyl off, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because several of our neighbors have timber and you know, we like the dugout basement and everything like that. So.
Mr. President, statement unless others have.
I just wanted to be sure if I made, so the windows that are being replaced, are you replacing all the windows or just the windows on the front?
We're not replacing the large windows in the front that you've seen those.
You mean on either side of the front door?
Yeah, neither of those will be replaced.
So it's the three at the very top and the one in the addition?
Yeah. And ones on the sides that are less visible, but we really love the original windows there. I want to preserve them. Yeah.
Okay, and so those are the ones that are referenced that the new windows should match the style in terms of the pane structure and all that.
Yeah.
Any other questions before full length?
I have a question or sorry, I'll state your own and see what you want to do, and that's the American way. You just have freedom. I didn't know if you were aware of any windows for fiberglass, like being available in the area.
There are,
Research.
the price difference was pretty extreme for what we would be able to afford. I do think it's a really good option, especially considering like you're thinking about a house, it's not just one thing, especially a house of this age. There's a lot of things that need to be done to restore it, and to just maintain it. So, you know, looking at it holistically as an expense, it's certainly the most practical way for our family to move forward and also have functioning windows.
Yeah, one of the things I suggested previously was that we provide like a guide to the sort of homeowners and similar to what mechanics for our own use. And I'm trying to promote particular products, but at least let people be aware. And what I see, you know, the spirit of a hard decision or your decision, I see again, the vinyl windows keep making inroads in the market, taking over the market. There are still wood vinyl glass windows out there. And I used to be a lot of the contractor myself. So today I called like Mid-South Supply. They're on Severi Road. And they're all across from Trinity High School. I happen to know they're a dealer for Marvin windows. It used to be like the Cadillac windows. And the quote I got was $800 to $900 window. Either wood or fiberglass, through the bottle of white. So I just wanted to mention that.
Including the insulation.
Insulation. Could be a big part of it. I believe yours are probably gonna be like replacements, not entire window.
No, it'll be the whole window. And actually, like most of the windows that we're getting replaced, so those three at the top are the only ones that are like original to the house. The rest of them are from an addition from either the 70s or 80s, and they're metal. They're very flimsy, and we're never historic.
That's probably why they were a lot of them are just like doing insert. It's really, listen, I'm saying that's a good line, so good for you. You research.
Sure.
A brief statement with regards to the applicant's application. Right. I did not previously go on record regarding the application, instead preferring to first hear what the hard discussion and subsequent recommendation would be. Having heard their discussion and read the decision, I can only say I'm disappointed in their approval of the request. The previous Board of Commissioners has voiced their appreciation of the Shepherdstown Historic District, and I believe we have an opportunity to reverse the trend and whittling away the character of this and other historic districts by allowing for the continued use of non-period correct materials, which over time, if checked, will result in just another street of vinyl-clad homes. Ms. Rocky has indicated that the project involves replacing a total of 15 windows in the back door. However, only the windows in the front and side-facing areas of the home are visible from the public right-of-way. It's my understanding that any window which can be seen from a public street or way should have been included in the application, not just the 5 referenced in front of the home. Rather than disapprove the certificate of appropriateness outright, I would propose to make a motion to approve the application with the following conditions. In addition to keeping the 3 beautiful large original windows on the first floor, the applicant also keep the 3 existing second floor windows facing the pipe. 2, allow for the replacement of the 2 windows proposed for the eastern addition if they include 3-dimensional exterior muntins, also known as mullions or bricks. And 3, again, as the Harvard suggested, 4 of the windows must be set aside for future reference. Requesting the applicant not replace the 3 second-floor windows facing Gettysburg Pike, but still allow her to proceed with replacing 80% of the windows referenced in her project.
Okay, did I hear that, is that a comment or did I hear a motion?
That would be a comment referencing.
Well, I thought I heard you read something about the move or make a motion.
Special project motion.
I just wanted to check that. Other comments or conversations?
Say I understand what Bill's coming from, what's more. Lasting value, receiving values, historic. Seems your home's already been modified quite a bit.
It has vinyl siding already, it's already vinyl clad, and
Yeah, I can tell windows to the left and right in front of the also, they kind of look like.
no, those are storm windows over them.
That's why.
They're really pretty old windows. The storm windows were there when we moved in. I'd like to, at some point, restore them. Those ones will be like 8,000 to 10,000 per window to have restored, so it's not on its day project list. Honestly, it's at this point, like, it's fairly unlivable with the windows that are there. It's just like a lot of them are broken, the weights are all broken. Sorry, I didn't know I was gonna be like relitigating it, and I'm a journalist, so today was a long day. Yeah, I mean, they're really in really poor shape. We're doing everything we can to make the house a beautiful home that it respects the historic nature and also is like currently livable historically. Yeah.
And I regret that Hart didn't have this information or the opportunity to include that because we have a recommendation here from Hart. We also have a list from Ms. Boyer of other allowances we made for other homeowners, so I'm a bit concerned that we're singling you out to do something that we haven't asked of other homeowners. Just my opinion, but other comments?
What are we singling her out to do, just to save the windows?
No, what Phil was suggesting was in addition to what Hart was recommending.
Barb did not ask them to come, okay, understood.
But I want to be respectful of Phil's input, give people opportunity to either endorse and or not give suggestions.
Sure, and I would reiterate that I'm just suggesting that 3 of the 15 windows be kept in place. So she'd still get 80% of what she was.
I mean, that one's my kid's bedroom. It literally, we can't even keep it open or close it right now, and one of the panes has fallen out and it's covered with cardboard. I would love to restore 3 of the windows too, but at this point, like, it's really a matter of urgency and livability and what's pragmatic and reasonable for my family.
And I appreciate that. In addition to the prospects of a potential placement window of different material, there are options also of restoration that may not be as expensive.
Okay, thank you. Other floor is open for additional input and or suggested action.
I'd like to move that a certificate of appropriateness be to Ms. Christina Rocky for the replacement of windows on the property of 336 Gettysburg Pike. Be approved subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant not replace the 3 second floor windows facing Gettysburg Pike. 2, the applicant include 3-dimensional, the applicant include 3-dimensional exterior muntins, also known as mullions, to the 2 proposed replacement windows on the addition to the eastern side of the house. And 3, 4 of the wood windows must be set aside for future reference.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
I'm not gonna support that motion. I would stick with the motion from Art. So my vote would be in favor of that.
And I think we're being a little bit disadvantaging the applicant in that she didn't have an opportunity to react to that. And HARP is our advisory group, not binding, our advisory group, and we have a recommendation from HARP. So I'm sympathetic or I think I support HARP. Other discussion?
Still, I think we have the advisory council have to take their, I'm saying, I don't really agree with either, but for the circumstances that we're under at the time frame, we should let it proceed. Hopefully, we all want something in the future we can explore other options. I do think those point out saving some material.
Oh, I'm happy to see the
For the
material.
future, we probably want to do
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So point of clarification, the motion on the floor, how does that differ, Bill, since you're the author, from the first part of that motion that's listed here in our action sheet? Well, the hard recommendation is the applicant can replace the windows with the material of their choosing, so long as the new windows match the size and style of the original windows. Is that capturing your motion, or was your motion different from that?
My motion is different.
Could you restate it, please?
Yes, I move to grant the certificate of appropriateness to Ms. Christina Rotten for the replacement of windows on the property of 336 Gettysburg Pike, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant not replace 3 second floor windows facing Gettysburg Pike. 2, the applicant include 3-dimensional exterior muntins, also known as mullions, to the 2 proposed replacement windows on the addition to the eastern side of the house. And 3, 4 wood windows must be set aside for future reference.
Okay, and that's part of the hard recommendation, set aside the windows, but you're recommending she not replace those windows. And the applicant, in my view, has already said they're faulty and so you want her to continue to have the window that leaks.
I think for the cost of the replacement windows, they could be restored at a comparable cost. It would be slightly
The existing windows.
correct.
I don't really get into my finances in front of the whole township, but like, to be for real, like, people don't just have $30,000 that they spend on windows, they finance windows. So it's not that easy to be like, hey,
I won't replace all but three, but
But thank you, Phil. So the difference is replacement versus restoration. Thank you for that clarification. So the motion on the floor is that we would require the applicant to restore the windows. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
Okay, motion failed. 3-2. Now, the floor is open for the substitute or a follow-up motion.
I'll move to grant a certificate of appropriateness to Miss Christina Rocky for the replacement of windows on the property of 336 Gettysburg Pike, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant can replace the windows with the material of their choosing, so long as the new windows match the size and style of the original windows. 2, the board of the windows must be set aside for future reference. Replacement of the windows shall be in accordance with the applicable building codes and ordinances, and in accordance with the specifications as submitted and reviewed by the Historical Architectural Review Board.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
That's all our recommendation.
Yes, okay. So it's been moved and seconded, and thank you, Rick. So Rick's motion mirrors the recommendation of Mark. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Now,
Yes. Okay, motion carried 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest in keeping the maintenance and beauty of your home. Okay. Anything else on that? We're moving then to Epley Road.
Yes, next on the agenda, thank you, is consideration to schedule a public hearing to add portions of the properties at 755 Epley Road into our ag security area, also known as our ASA. This proposal has been before you, as well as the County Planning Commission and the Township Planning Commission. And so far, they have received favorable recommendations for adding this land into the ASA. So next step is for this board to consider scheduling a public hearing so that the public can come out and provide any testimony regarding the proposal. And I do have the 2 properties up on the projection screen if you want to see them. The public hearing has to take place after December 7th, but before February 17th of next year. So I gave 4 suggested dates because we are coming up on the holiday season here. The earliest one would be December 18th, and I do realize we have a Stormwater Authority meeting and a BOC meeting that night, but if you wanted to have it after the Stormwater Authority, but before the Commissioner meeting, we've done that in the past with other public hearings. We can advertise that as such. The other dates would be going into 2025, which would be January 8th, 22nd, or February 5th.
And should we decide on the 18th of December, is there sufficient time to advertise it?
Yes, because it would be after the December 7th meeting.
Great.
Because I do have to give a 30-day notice, so.
Where if the landowner and or their representative, does this conflict, or do they have objections to any of those things?
Not that I'm aware of. I have been in contact with them, and so far, everything has been agreed upon with those dates.
Okay, so I might suggest that the action is to set the date for public hearing, not necessarily to discuss the pros and cons, because I'm hearing it thereafter. So is there any suggested action? Well, first of all, questions of Jen or the request.
So I participated in the hearing today, a committee hearing on this one.
Yeah.
Jen has, I mean, these are part of larger parcels that are mostly in Monroe Township.
Yes.
Correct.
It's kind of a housekeeping thing to bring them in, but terms of the overall program, the ASA. It's like if you're in this program, it's a precursor or prerequisite to be able to participate in the county farmland preservation plan.
Correct.
Which is, one of the big advantages for a popular program. And I just wondered if you still have available the map of the entire township that showed the farms that are in the program, both
Yes.
just in the regular setting, who is already in the farmland preservation program.
Yes, and
Means they will be sort of doing.
correct, and I do apologize, the Ag Security Area Advisory Committee also reviewed this plan in which Commissioner Fairchild is the chairperson for, so I apologize for not mentioning that along with the County Planning Commission and Township Planning Commission reviews. But-
the commissioners has this map. This
Yes.
map was distributed in advance of the meeting.
Right, so this map,
See what farms we have.
yeah, so this map is all of our ASA properties and those with this green overlay, patterned overlay are farms that have been successfully entered into the county's preservation program. So that's the difference on this map.
Questions or comments?
What's interesting, I think, is the portions that are in Monroe Township have been in since 1989, they've been in the ag security.
Correct, and we didn't have an ag security area at that time. We didn't get ours until the early 2000s. So now that they're trying to move forward with the preservation, the county recommended that they put these parcels into RASA so that the entire tracts of land are within an ag security area.
Sure.
Right.
Okay, other questions? Proposed action?
We need to do that. Actually, include it during the.
Yes.
Preference, and I see no reason not to do it the first one unless.
Yeah, I'd say get it. I was.
Were they the motionary?
I move to authorize the appropriate township staff to advertise for a public hearing to be held on December 18, 2024. That's 6:15 p.m. Following the close of the public hearing, the board consider their action to either approve or disapprove the proposed resolution at the regular board of commissioners meeting on December 18, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Recent. It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any comments from the audience? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. That's unanimous. Thank you. Moving then to 2509 Mill Road.
Yes, next item on the agenda is consideration of the reapproval of the 2509 Mill Road development plan. This plan was before you earlier this year in March, and the applicant had 180 days to record the plan, which did not occur. So that would have been an expiration date of September 18th of this year. And then on October 28th, we did receive a request from the owner asking that the board consider extending this plan and reapproving it for another 180 days. So that request is before you tonight for consideration to approve.
If you have any questions, I might note that this proposal from Jen and the applicant would maintain the requirement that all the 26 conditions that were approved with the first plan need to be met before it can be.
Correct.
Questions and or proposed action? So as I understand it, it's not new information, it's not changed from what this board approved previously. The only reason it came back was that the time of recording has expired and they're coming back and asking for a new or an extension of that, which would be valid until May 5.
Correct.
Okay.
Move to reapprove the preliminary final land development plan for the 2509 Mill Road with the same landscaping and conditions as previously approved on March 20th, 2024. Conditions 25 states that the applicant must supply all conditions of approval of the plan and the record of the plan within 180 days from this approval, or else the plan will be considered disapproved. The 108 day period shall expire on May 5th, 2025. Thank you.
Yo, is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion or comments?
I just asked the applicant question.
Introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, I'm Charlie Serves, attorney with Stevens and Lee, I represent the applicant's project.
I understand your, I read your request and it was, did you make any, when the conditions, the 25 conditions, have you done any of them, like? It doesn't appear like even the plan related items were met.
Yeah, those weren't done yet, the main thing we're holding on to is really financing on the end. It's getting financing for the overall project, which gets financing for the various conditions, putting under security, various fees for pay, that's the primary thing in the market. For better or worse, it works for us if we're most active for the project.
And I just, I mean, if you come back in 6 months, I hope that to be some of the plan related items or only administrative items that are left.
Yeah, the plan items were fairly minor anyway, the clean items that we had, so yes, we certainly work at this time.
Appreciate Rick's question. Question. I did not support the project. Later, but I don't understand if you came back again or how long. I mean, what would happen if we didn't approve it? I mean,
That's a very good question. Underneath the, we talked about this morning in our office about this, it's an unusual conditions. Underneath the MPC planning code, there generally is no authorization for a time limit like this. Plans are approved for, they're approved and they're about what we want. The applicant has a certain time period of protection from intervening ordinances, which would be typically for 5 years from the beginning of preliminary plan approval, which goes forward. That's the time limits that are in the MPC. What we have here is sort of a time limit which is imposed, and then all of a sudden it flips it to a denial, which is questionable whether that's even valid. Now we accepted the 180 days that are on there. We did have a case out of Adams County with another development in Lattimore Township, where the issue came out about improvement, flipping out to a denial without any action of it had happened. And Judge George really questioned that, whether that was a valid type of action and what work with that. So it's really, an administrative aid to the township to make sure that the plans don't sit stagnant and the developer gets to it and gets it built. So it really cuts down the time period that the MPC authorizes, for them. So when you have these requests, and I have seen them in other townships, what happens is, sometimes it's a year, but as the economy ebbs and flows, projects sometimes slow, they slow down. I have lots of projects that it's rush, and approved, and it sits. So, unfortunately, you end up getting extension requests to come in this or effectively reapproval, depending on how you look at that.
My memory's not that well, but I believe when this was approved, we probably said at that point in the motion that all of the conditions need to be met and the plan needed to be recorded by the date or it will be denied. So I don't think this sudden idea of possible denial should be a surprise to you.
No, it wasn't.
You agreed with that one.
Yeah, we agree with you.
Well, then, so you're here for another extension, so.
Yeah. I was explaining he was asking questions about, I think
Sure, but you didn't meet the condition of the motion you accepted, so now you're coming back and asking us for an extension, which I suspect we will do, but.
That's exactly right. It's beyond.
Sure. But to your point too, Eric, I think the onus is on the applicant as to, make a case of why it didn't happen or why reapproval or an extension is valid. And then sure, thanks. Other discussion? Comments from the audience? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
I believe we have two zoning hearing board cases today.
Correct, we're just providing you information on the two zoning hearing board cases. Zoning hearing board will meet on November 14th. And before that is one for along Hastings Drive, where the property owner would like to construct a 4-foot high fence around a future pool. They are on a corner lot, so front yards apply to all lot areas that abut a street. So they essentially have 2 front yards, and we have limitations on the height of that fence in a front yard, so they're seeking relief, as well as setback. We have a 25-foot setback, and they're asking for 12 feet of that to be relieved. And then the second case that will be before the zoning hearing board is for a variance request to our sign provisions. The property on Williams Grove Road is asking for a pole sign that is 11 feet tall, a little over 11 feet tall, and 35 square feet in size, which is more than is what permitted in the ag district. And they're also asking that that sign have an EMC component, which is not permitted in that district. And this particular property is actually a home occupation property. So they have a special exception already granted for the special occasion facility. So they operate as a home, an accessory use out of the home as a home-based business. And so the restrictions on that signage are a little less in the ag district because it applies to the requirements of a home-based business sign in that district, not a non-residential use in that district. So both of those will be before the zoning hearing board. If this commission would like to relay any opinions to their opinion to the zoning hearing board, we can certainly do that.
Let's just for order. Let's discuss the Hastings Drive. Any questions or comments on that? So we're not going back.
Yeah, sure.
So Hastings Drive, that's the one where the proposing to put it's a corner lot, and they're proposing to put a pool in the backyard and need relief and or changes to the fence around the pool. My question is, driving by from the street, it appears like there's a swale and or some kind of stormwater conveyance in the backyard.
Yeah, there's an easement that runs through the property. The pool would be outside the easement area. The pool wouldn't be allowed in that easement area.
It feels like it's always small backyard.
Yes.
They've discussed that and they can put a pool of some size or dimension within that. Scheme. Okay. Make sure I click it right.
The question I have on the, when they notify joiners, will they also notify the Canterbury, they have an HOA? I would hate to approve something and then the HOA comes back later and says, well, you should probably notify them as.
I don't know offhand that they do have an HOA, but I will verify, and if so, for developments that do have an HOA, we do notify them as well. So I'll double check to see if that's the case in this situation.
You know what type of fence it is?
Yeah, it's in their application packet. They have it circled. It's what I like to call the wrought iron type fences. It's this heron. Yeah, there's this heron pattern. That's what they're looking to use. Yeah. So not a full privacy fence, but they have to have a fence around the pool per building code. And it has to be at least 4 feet high around the pool. They're just asking for some additional space because of going out into the front yard with the fence. That also triggers the height limitation.
Have you 28 owners on it?
Yes,
So that
yes, that's a requirement.
And it seems like it's an interesting case because this really is the side yard, but it's considered a front yard also because it's a corner lot.
Yes. And as I said before, with corner lots, it's multiple front yards that apply.
Any other comments? Okay, and then we have the strong request for a sign along Williams Grove Road. I understand to take down the existing signs to the Strong Enterprises, the event center, and put up a pole sign.
Correct. And what is permitted by right is a monument sign no more than 6 feet high and 12 square feet in size. And it can only be internally or externally illuminated. So what they're asking for is not a monument sign, but instead a pole sign, 11 feet, 8 inches high, 35 square feet in size, and to have an EMC component.
But personally, I have no issue with the dimensional variation, you know, I don't object to that at time. I just question why we put a electronic message board out in a rural farm area. When I'm not sure what messaging is going to be picked up by people driving down Williamsville Road, but I guess that's a business venture. I have reservations about the electronic messaging sign there.
I just seen it appears to me the argument about the corn stalks blocking the sign. Why is a reach? I mean, I don't know why you would need to plant corn in front of the sign.
I don't know why that either, and we can certainly relay these comments and have the applicant address them during the hearing.
like bringing it to all pay for. That's all that's not opinionated about any zoning hearing case. We ask questions and so forth, but we're not supposed to prejudice or so. Maybe Steve can verify that, that's what I recall.
Well, that's right. The zoning hearing board is an independent quasi-judicial body. So the board of commissioners ought not to communicate to the zoning hearing board what their decision should be, although the board of commissioners does have the right, since it is the township is a party to proceedings, to have either myself or the code officer, who states Jan or Mike appear and then knows some aspect of the.
And that's exactly what I thought we've always done here before. Yeah. That's usually brought pending cases to us for comment, but then shouldn't like
I'm just trying to relate it. Criticism,
okay, but I just want to go on record. I mean, there was an implication in there that we're doing something inappropriate. I think our solicitor just said that we do have the privilege and the right to at least make comment to the officer that can relate those to that and that here. Anything else?
Just I have a question. This came in after the new ordinance was passed.
Correct. This just came in on October 23rd, so that is past when our ordinance was done.
We were to say because it's not more than home occupation that it is why you think larger sign on that basis.
No, so we have different provisions for home-based businesses and non-residential uses within the ag districts and all our residential districts. Home-based businesses have an allowance of less signage. So where the home occupation only permits, and this is only specific to the ag district that we added into that sign ordinance, was that they could have an additional monument sign of 12 square feet, no more than 6 feet in height. If it were a non-residential use, it could have an 8-foot high monument sign, 32 square feet in size. So what they're requesting is actually even larger than what we would permit for a non-residential use, like a library. Okay, no signs in the ag or residential districts are permitted to have an EMC type sign. They're only permitted to be lit internally or externally. So that's another variance above and beyond what is permitted, so. So that's why they're going to zoning hearing board, they're requesting the variance to see if they can acquire a larger sign, taller sign, and a different type of sign that is what is permitted in the district.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I just might. And my concern is that, and the statement I made about the electronic message board is, you know, we start making exceptions, then we should be aware of that because that's setting precedent then for future requests in the ag district. Okay, anything else with planning and zoning, Jen?
Not at this time. I will note that we do have a planning commission meeting scheduled later this month. That'll be on November 25th, just before the Thanksgiving holiday, so.
Very well, thank you.
Mhm.
Moving then to public improvements.
Yes, under public improvements, we have a request that has come in for vacation of portion of Allendale Road. This goes along with the Legacy Park Phase 4 project where we saw Allendale Road realigned. That project area is complete with Allendale Road. And one of the conditions of approval was that the applicant must come in and vacate the right of way, which is essentially the old part of the road. So that's with the curved design, that now is just basically grassland. And you can see the area here along Allendale Road in between Allendale and then Allendale Road Extended, the new cul-de-sac. And then this area shaded in gray is the portion of right of way that is requesting to be vacated and would go back to property owners. Since it's no longer the old road, as I like to call it. So the next step in this process is to, we move forward with this, it would go to the County Planning Commission for review. Property owners adjacent to the area would be notified, and the township must hold a public hearing. We must hold the public hearing, we must allow for the county to have at least 45 days to review before the township can have a public hearing and or take any action. This is, if you're familiar with the process we're already going through with Aspen Drive right away. So I do have 3 dates suggested after December 23rd, and those would be January 8th, January 22nd, and February 5th. And that would be past that 45-day period to allow for county review.
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, what is in front of us is the right of way that gets added to lands of Carl and lands of the Jewish community. But the right of way is, you know, where lot 47 and 47C is also,
Correct.
That need to be abandoned also?
Well, yes, but it's through the borough, Mechanicsburg Borough. So this line right here is the municipal boundary line. So the applicant is working with the borough to go through their vacation process as well. But they can be independent of one another.
They'll have to protect the safety of the borough.
Correct, and I don't know what policies are for boroughs. They may have a different vacation policy than what first class townships do. So the applicant is coordinating all of that.
Is there any negative if we approve ours and the borough doesn't approve it or delays approval? I mean, that's on the applicant.
Yeah, I would say that's for the applicant to figure out.
Do you think? This involves several private homeowners, et cetera. Do you suspect this will be a long hearing Or could we schedule that as we did the other one on the January 22nd? Between stormwater.
I don't know, I mean, the residents that have been in this area are aware of the project as a whole. I think many of them were maybe part of some of the design discussions, so they know about the realignment of the road. I don't know that there would be a lot of discussion on the vacation. I have not spoken to them about it specifically. So again, we could do something on the 22nd, and it just may be that the regular Board of Commission meeting starts a little later than normal. If you want to put it on that date.
The comments in terms of either here, had holding the hearing on or the data.
The 8th or the 22nd or regular meeting dates, anyway.
Yes.
Always the 8th, oh, that would be the first one, so we could have that.
Correct. January 1st is actually the first Wednesday of the month, so with it being a holiday, you move that first meeting date to the 8th.
Is there any thoughts and discussion before? Hearing that, go ahead, Jenny, propose a motion that we'll discuss.
Move to authorize the appropriate township staff to forward the street vacation request to the county planning commission for their consideration. The appropriate township staff are hereby authorized to advertise a public hearing date on January 8th at 6 p.m. to discuss the street vacation requested for Allendale Road. Following the close of the public hearing, the Board of Commissioners can consider acting to either approve or disapprove the request at its regular meeting on January 8th at 6:30.
Motion is your second.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, for public improvements.
I do not have anything else.
Sanitary sewer, there's nothing on the agenda. Okay. Administrative committee, the 2025 proposed public meeting calendar is with our materials. Please take a look at that and see if there's any conflicts or things we missed or issues you'd like to consider, so that get those to staff. If you have comments, take action at them. Approve that and advertise.
That's correct. Yeah, you have a later meeting date for you to, just to allow you time to peruse your calendars and get back to us with any comments.
Very good, thank you. Then we also have distributed with our materials is a listing of the volunteer committee boards, and not the entire board, but those whose terms are expired. Staff have contacted those volunteers, and all of the incumbent volunteers are willing to continue to serve, with the exception of Sewer Advisory Board. Robert Haynes is not seeking to renew his term. We already have a vacancy on that board, so we really will have two vacancies on the board. So we have suggestions from volunteers.
Or we had vacancy not too long ago, Sewer Advisory Board. Two very qualified applicants. So months ago in spring. Do we go back that applicant already filled out the paperwork. We go through that again, or probably what is most courteous, respectful way to go about that.
We will reach out to anyone who has an application that has expressed interest in the board position. Then the person would be also considered that same thing. Then we ask if they're still interested and allow them to respond to us.
The other point is, we have 2 vacancies, so be aware. I don't think there's anything else for administration, park and rec. We have a dog park.
Sure. So the Park and Recreation Board expressed interest in extending the lease for the dog park with Daybreak Church. We're aiming to strengthen the potential partnership and explore additional opportunities that could benefit both organizations. Representatives with Daybreak Church agreed to a lease extension. The lease extension was in your packet. The original lease was set to expire in 2037 with an option to terminate in 2027. The newly proposed lease extension expires in 2045 with the option to terminate in 2039. So the Park and Recreation agreed with this lease extension, as did Daybreak. So we're looking for Board of Commissioners approval of the lease extension.
The conditions of the lease remain the same.
Everything else remains the same, correct?
So what we're doing is looking for 8 additional years on the lease.
Correct.
Sure. Well, that's why 8 and not 10. I'm trying to, is there a rationale behind it?
So we originally wanted the expiration date to go to 2050. Daybreak said 2045, and then the option to terminate with the same amount of years in between.
Okay, makes sense. Because 2050 would be a nice round. Any questions on the lease? I mean, we have a really good relationship with the fact Gilbert and the owner, and the dogs like it. So, any questions or proposed action? Go ahead.
Well, this isn't a data lease. I'm not sure I saw the original lease. I mean, that was executed or drafted by the solicitor. I don't know how big a document that is. It's not very big.
You can certainly, I'm sure Scott will send you a copy if you'd like to see.
Not prepared to that. Oh, it's
All right, not very much.
That will work. Maybe so we're going. The discussion about trails, other improvements, the church wants to do. I guess they're obviously they're agreeing with this. I didn't know. Creating office.
No, as a matter of fact, I think, Tim asked in 2050 to feel the back to 45, but they're good with that.
Right.
I think
it came off with such a good relationship. It's yes, you would just renegotiate that specific.
That's what we're doing up here.
They came for park, right? Or asking the less. They started growing something. They have their own ideas to develop and it's further including trails, a park. They require it's all.
Even before we talked about development at Crossings of Jefferson, so I think the church is always at our request or there's interest in at least pursuing future. Yeah, it's a good point. If there are no other questions, propose action.
I'll recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve the lease extension agenda relating to the Upper Allen Township Dog Park at Daybreak Church.
For second.
Second.
The move is second. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Anything else for Park and Rec?
Just 2 quick announcements. Commissioner Fairchild, I will forward you that whole agreement then, so you have that as well. The next Park and Rec meeting is going to be November 26th at 6:30. And just to add on to what Ms. Sanker from the library was saying, this past summer, WellSpan Health and Cumberland County Libraries, including Simpson, partnered to sponsor the summer-long Go and Choose Adventure program, where they put posts throughout parks in the county and encourage people to get out with their families and walk. And just the results of what happened here in our community, we had 2 posts, one at Winding Hill North and one at Friendship. There were 832 participants total, and over 50% visited each of our 2 parks and logged a number of 724.5 miles throughout the summer. So that was pretty exciting in here.
Thank you for sharing that. Any items from the solicitor?
I do report.
Tax collection? Very good. No report of times, there will be a meeting in November. Meeting.
Then maybe met October 28th. I shared all the information with Scott if he needed it. The majority of the discussion was on the upcoming election day, so.
State Association. Public comment?
Yes.
I'm Karen Smith from 855 Oak Oval. And I had an inquiry on the in-home business, if it's permitted, where the 3 fire trucks are on Mount Allen Road. And now the trucks are in the floodplain and the parts are moving down there. It's expanding. So are there conditions? Is it a permitted business?
I don't know that, and maybe staff wishes to speak to it, but I know the property you're referencing. I think staff are aware of that too. Would it be permitted if we have our zoning officer research that and inspect it and get back to us and you?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if it's permitted, but I know at least anecdotally that's been mentioned previously.
It's just that it's now 3, it was 1, and it's 2, and now it's parts. All right.
So it looks like a business, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
On Mount Allen Drive? No, I do not.
Mount Allen Drive, it'd be the last property toward us on the south side, north side. Sorry,
Last property on south side,
no, north side,
north side. On,
on Gettysburg.
I'll point it out to you, Jim.
okay, thank you.
Just before you get to the exit, driveway of the highlight. And
Okay.
below the entrance to like,
Oh, I think I know where you mean. Yeah, I'd have to look into the property. I don't know if they have a permit for home occupation. I'm not aware of anything right this second, but
that's a good question.
I'll look into it.
I have the same question.
Thank you. Yes, I particular, when you come around, you have to be careful because the deers run across the street right there.
And the traffic digital thing that was going on, that helped a lot of people slow down and saw the deer. I saw them.
Oh, yeah. It's all it's good.
Thank you. Oh, we're getting more. I just wanted to mention that Chief Schomburger did distribute during our budget meeting the latest fire report, so we can put that as well. Any other comments? We are going to take a short executive session to get an update on legal issue. And yeah. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending. Thank you, commissioners, and have a great evening. Thank you.
I know all that.